One, overreactions. So we're gonna do things that you don't need to overreact to. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people overreact, but it's week one. So first one I'm gonna go with is Jahmyr Gibbs. A lot of people might be freaking out because he only had 9 touches, only ended up with 9 fantasy points on 7 touches. Excuse me.
Well, he had 7 attempts at rushing and 2 targets and 2
9
receptions.
total. So 9 total attempts, or however you want to see it, but it was real low for what you thought he was going to be coming out of one of the top picks in the draft. And he was a top prospect.
One of the most talked about people.
Fantasy players this year. So I know people are looking to see a lot more from him, but it is pretty well known that as a rookie, they wanted to ease him into the NFL, let him get his legs underneath him, let him get a taste of what it felt like. So I'm not quite sure if they're going to just explode him into the gates moving forward this next week, but I do know in the upcoming weeks, within 4 or 5 weeks from now at the very latest, it could be this week that they just explode him. At some point, he will be a bell cow. He will be somebody that you can rely on, I feel, and I don't think you need to overreact by his poor performance. That wasn't really his fault. If you watch the game, anytime he touched the ball, he looked amazing.
He did.
He was breaking tackles. He looked explosive. He looked strong. He looked big. He looked quick. So I'm all in as far as the talent and the player, and I'm not too worried about
I think they just gotta because they have a really good running back too with David Montgomery with them. Yeah. But I don't think just right in the beginning it might affect his workload and stuff, but eventually I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get the bulk of it.
So it might take some time with him. He might just do it, but every week that goes every week that goes by is a week where this is going to be better than the last week, and it should get better and better every week that goes.
And the Lions are a good team now. All right, so my overreaction. We shouldn't overreact with Jalen Hurts. It was a pretty bad weather game, and he was playing against the I believe it was the New England Patriots, and Bill Belichick. This is his first game of the year, so he's probably
always got a scheme.
He's probably been telling his team about them since probably 2 months ago or something. This is the first game. These are the most likely, almost maybe Super Bowl champs. You know what I mean? This year. So we gotta they played pretty good defense against him, and it was a bad weather game. Jalen Hurts didn't run as much. He threw 33 times, 22 completions, and only 170 yards and 1 touchdown. 9 rushes for 37 yards and no touchdowns. He lost the fumble. I'm just gonna chalk it up as just the bad weather and just the first game jitters, I guess you could say. It's kind of stupid to say because he's a vet and he shouldn't have it, but we're just gonna throw this game out and we're gonna see Jalen Hurts do well tonight. We're gonna see Jalen Hurts do what he does.
That's right. Next we got Richard White. So I basically feel like you don't need to overreact. Don't panic. He only hit you with I think it was 6 fantasy points, maybe 9, somewhere between 6 and 9 fantasy points. They do not have anybody really behind him. He did have 17 attempts, on 2 targets. He should get more targets moving forward, and he should put that into a lot better usage than what he did. To turn 17 touches into 6 fantasy points isn't the best. So obviously I can see the cause for concern, but there isn't a lot of depth behind him. It's just him and the rookie Sean Tucker, and who also didn't do that well. They played against Minnesota, and the way the game kind of went, they just ended up with a lot of turnovers. It was a weird flowing game script. Plus Mike Evans had a good game, which we talked about last week because of the matchup and where he's going. So I kind of knew it was going to be that flow of a game script, but just in sheer volume, I'm going to trust that he does have it inside of him to be efficient enough to get you fantasy points moving forward. So I would say, hold on, don't overreact right now on Richard White. You can still look to fire him up, and he'll be a lot more productive than he was for you this week.
Okay. Next overreaction we got Pittman.
Yeah.
Michael Pittman?
Yep, he did amazing. He had 11.
Yeah, he did. He had that big catch on.
And he had that big catch. New quarterback. So I think you're saying just settle down a little bit on him.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm trying to. That's what I was like, was I up on him?
I mean,
Because he did good. I was like,
Yeah.
I wrote that because he did good, and I was like, no, yeah, I get where I'm coming from now.
Still don't overreact just because it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. You can have a good game, but that doesn't mean throw him in your number one wide receiver spot. He's a lot.
97% of the snaps, 11 targets. That's a lot right there. 8 receptions, 97 yards and 1 touchdown. That 1 touchdown and 30 yards came from 1 play. I mean, you can't discredit it because he actually did it physically, but that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen as much. I think he'll probably be a little bit better than last year, but the 20 points like that, I don't
expecting him to take that high of a leap up on an every week basis. You might want to just like slow your expectations. If it happens, amazing. You got yourself a extra gem right there.
Yeah, I feel like I can't feel like an idiot saying that because he got 23 points last week, but I mean, that's just the way I always felt about Michael Pittman and them. He's an amazing receiver and an amazing athlete, and then on a different team, he'd be elite and maybe a top 15 or top 12, 10, something like that. But I guess we'll see if they're gonna prove me wrong.
That's why he dropped him in the Dynasty League, and then I picked him up, and then now he's on my team forever.
I shouldn't have dropped him.
He shouldn't have dropped him. But that was neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So next we're gonna go with Joe Burrow. So I know anybody that started Joe Burrow or any Bengal for that matter, it did not look good for you. It was probably tough to get a win. If you did get a win, then you obviously had a lot of help in other places. So don't panic. That game had crazy weather. One of the worst weathered games. It's a division game. Things are going to go weird in division games. It's just the way they play. And I expect Joe Burrow and all of the Bengals to do a lot better starting this week. Fire them all up. Don't worry about it. If T. Higgins gets you 0-point catches again or goose eggs it for you, then you don't ever have to tune into this fantasy show again, all right? I promise you he will do better than he did last week. But Joe Burrow, you can count on him this week. I do not think you're going to have to worry as much as you did. He's playing against the Ravens. He's at home this week, and I just feel like he has a chip on his shoulder and a point to prove. And
I heard he cut his hair. They're saying. Okay. They say that he cut his hair.
Yeah, so he ain't messing around.
He ain't messing around.
I'm a pretty boy right now. He ain't having it. So we got one more for you right here. Don't overreact.
Don't overreact with Devontae Adams' production on the previous game. I think Devontae is going to be Devontae. They say he's questionable right now, but as long as he's healthy, there's no reason for you to question him being your number one receiver on your team. I mean, he's Devontae Adams. He hasn't showed any slowing down yet.
Even though he only, had a bad game, bad game, he still had 9 targets with 12.6 points. True. So, you're getting 12.5 fantasy points on a bad game.
Yeah, and Jimmy Garoppolo's first game with the Raiders, and I can't remember he actually the last time he actually played too. Yeah, he was probably hurt in the 49ers. I think they let him go, huh? So he hasn't played for a while, let alone on a new team. And then we played against a division game. Denver's not too good, but it's a division game, and they always play against us tough. But there's a lot of the stars aligned for him to have a bad game, I guess you could say. Yeah. And that's just a once a year thing that's gonna happen. And I think Devontae Adams is gonna be Devontae Adams.
That's right. All right. Well, next we're gonna get into our bold predictions. This is my funnest part. I love to give bold predictions for the week because you can kind of just say shit that might not stick, and if it does, you look like a genius. So this week's week 2 bold predictions for us, I'm gonna go first with my man Sam Laporta, the tight end for the Detroit Lions, will have 15 plus fantasy points this week. He's gonna go out, and whether he gets you a touchdown or not. If he gets you a touchdown, he'll have 20 fantasy points. I think he'll have 15 fantasy points with no touchdown. Yeah. That's how good I think.
I mean, they're playing against Seattle, and Justin Herbert threw 2 touchdown passes to his tight end last week.
So that is a good call. You know, they do got a good matchup. They are playing. So I do like Sam Laporta. He already had 5 targets last week as a rookie.
It's pretty bold because of the rookie. Rookie tight ends don't do too good.
Rookie tight ends usually do nothing. He actually did great last week for a rookie tight end. And I think he's going to take another step forward. And I think he's going to do great things starting
Jared
this
Goff's
week.
going to go off too. Jared Goff's doing good.
So speaking of that segue you into the next, to your bold prediction?
We got Jared Goff to be a top 3. I wanted to say top 1, but that was kind of too bold for me, and I didn't want to be that wrong. But we're gonna say top 3. He's playing against the Seattle Seahawks.
You just said he
yeah,
2 touchdowns to the tight end last week.
Well,
not him, but the defense he's playing against.
Oh shoot! You know what? I was playing that. My bad. I don't know why I mentioned the Chargers, but anyway, he's playing against the Seattle Seahawks, and Matt Stafford is what did he throw, like over 300 yards last week?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we thought the Rams were gonna fucking get dominated, but it looked like the Rams are
Tutu Atwell and Puka
who are those guys?
Yeah.
I know. I hate to talk about the Rams so much because I'm talking about Goff, but it's like. If Stafford did that with that, what's Goff gonna do with maybe one of the best offenses in the whole NFL? I mean, they just beat the Chiefs last week, so I got Goff to be top 3. I think I'm talking myself to be number 1. Yeah, but I got Goff. Go Goff. Chris got him too.
All right, my next one right here. This is for you, Mr. Nicky Moon. I got your boy Tony Pollard will finish outside of the top 15 running backs this week. So last week, he had 22 fantasy points. He did his thing. He finished his number? I think he was like number 3 or something like that as far as running back go, maybe 4. But he definitely, in my opinion, he had 14 attempts. He averaged 5 yards a carry with 2 touchdowns, 22 fantasy points, and he had 2 catches. Also off 2 attempts. So
I think you're scared of the 64% snap.
Yeah, he also only had 64% snap shares and 14 attempts. If you know anything about Tony Pollard, you know that there's a stigma with this 14 number that goes along with him. For whatever reason, they're always talking about how he doesn't get more than 14 touches. He's never had more than 14 touches in his entire career. So that is why I have been low and bullish to have my reservations about him, is simply because I haven't seen the volume that I want to see from my number 1 RB. If I pick a number 1 RB, I want a guy who's going to be getting 17 to 20 touches a game. I don't want him to max out at 14 and then stop. So until I see him hit that actual production of as far as attempts and the usage, then I'm going to be skeptical that he can keep up this kind of production with those kind of attempts and usage. 64% snap count. Granted, they did get into a big lead. They were up 40-0, so that could be a big reason why he had 64%. But also, I did see him in the game in the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
So they did like to use other people a lot. And if you take away those 2 touchdowns were goal line touches inside of the 5-yard line, he had only 10 points, or 8 points, 10 points. So he had 10 points without the 2 touchdowns. So I'm saying look for him to get closer to that number than the 22 number. The
only reason I might even 1% agree with you is just the Jets defense.
Yeah, and they're playing against a tougher defense this week, who showed against the Bills last week that they will fight hard. They're here to play, they're here to win, and they can keep high-scoring offenses to low-scoring games. So there is my other bold prediction. And then Mike has one more.
Okay, my next bold prediction is Nick Chubb is going to be the number 1 running back, not top 5, top 10. I'm straight up saying number 1 running back. He's playing against Pittsburgh. Christian McCaffrey, you know what he did to him last week. I think he had like 22 points, a little over that maybe.
26. 25.
Yeah, and Nick Chubb is like the star of the team. There's no Debo and all these guys with him, and there's really no one behind him. And Deshaun Watson got that team looking like a pretty. They're moving the ball and they're looking good.
It's bad weather.
It's bad weather, and he beat Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
That's right. I like it. Yeah, Nick Chubb has been one of the best elite pure rushers in the NFL, and with the loss or the move of Kareem Hunt, I do feel like they really are going to uptake his usage in the pass game, which
he caught 4 for 4 in receptions.
So that goes to show you, this last week he had 18 rushes, which is, I was just saying, in front of your number one, you want that 17 to 20 rushes. He had 106 yards with those and 4 targets with 4 catches.
And they've been talking about all
you put all that together, he got 16.70 fantasy points with no touchdowns. So that we just Tony Pollard.
That is floor too.
That sounds like a floor.
Yeah, it sounds like a floor. It's outrageous.
So that's a very well productive day.
I mean, because Christian McCaffrey is a better fantasy football player than him, but he could have like 30 and he could consistently have 30. But he'll get hurt, or he'll give you like a 15 or 12 point game. He looks like he's going to give you 15 points every game.
At least.
At least.
All right, so there go our bold predictions, you stoners. We hope you guys are ready. We got nothing but the Bogart's hot takes and knowledge's picks of the week. As we always end it, Bogart's gonna slap you with a couple fucking picks or some hot takes. Just some things that Bogart's got for this week. He's gonna let you know. You know what I mean?
I like to be spicy, so if I'm wrong, I don't give a fuck. If I'm wrong, I don't give a darn. Darn for the non-cussing folks. I'm sorry.
That was for Stevie right there, and all the ass hats out there. You know?
I got Kadarius Toney to be the #1 receiver on the Chiefs.
Okay.
Yes.
You're spinning that roulette.
That's my story. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
That's where the roulette ball is landing this week on Kadarius Toney.
Yep. We're gonna put all in on Kadarius Toney. Put all my chips in. I mean, there's really no one else out there. There was, Rice did good, but I think it was all the way the defense was giving them. Kadarius Toney dropped 2 balls.
He was the most used receiver last week.
Yeah.
But he also did drop a lot of passes.
Yeah, and if we would have caught those 2 balls, it was a big ifs. If we would have caught those balls, we would have been talking about, Kadarius Toney, pick him up off the waivers if he's on the waivers. But at the same time, if he doesn't do it today, he might not do it ever.
So you know what I mean? Might give him that chance
this is extra spicy.
Okay.
This is extra. So I'm going to go Kadarius Toney. He's really jittery after the catch, and it's kind of he breaks ankles. He tries to get to the touchdown as hard as possible, but he never plays. So that's my hot take. Kadarius Toney, #1 receiver on the Chiefs.
So if you need to start a Chiefs receiver this week, you heard it here from the Fantasy Foos, the podcast boys. You know what I'm saying?
If you need to.
I'm just saying. Well, you're just saying. If you're gonna start a Chiefs receiver, right? No matter what, you're dead set on starting a Chiefs receiver. Kadarius Toney is that one you want to start.
I don't know about Kelsey. I don't know how Kelsey's looking, but if he doesn't play, it's even better. Okay, my next hot take. Sorry, David. I got Montgomery to outscore Gibbs again. Maybe 2 or 3 more games of this, just a little bit more.
That's it.
But like everyone says, Gibbs. Everyone's focused on Gibbs and how the new toy, how he looks. But Montgomery is a new toy too, but he's a used toy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a used toy, but he's a pretty good used toy. You got him at the yard sale.
You got him on David's discounts.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But he's worth a little more.
Yeah. But the offense is. Dude, I don't want to say the best in the NFL, but right now it's one of them.
They are very high powered.
And they paid up the cash for Montgomery, so I think they're gonna. What he said about Gibbs, they're trying to ease him in, and like less touches for him is
more touches for Montgomery,
and then he doesn't. It works. They both don't get hurt. You know what I mean? They both get to sit out.
It helps the whole situation that they want.
But I think. Maybe Montgomery has the upside because he's the touchdown guy. Yeah. And we all know what Jamal Williams did last year. He had the most touchdowns in the NFL. So don't worry about Gibbs too much. But that's why it's a hot take. I got Montgomery to outscore Gibbs.
Man, and I'm saying right now, I'm just putting it out there that as somebody who's playing against Gibbs this week, I would appreciate if your hot take becomes a reality because I would really love it. Especially, I got a name change bet. I'll get to that later and all his picks of the week. But there's a little more on the line this week, so I would enjoy that. And
the next guy I got on the Bogart hot takes is someone I wanted to talk about, but I really don't like to talk about my own players because it might sound like I'm a little biased. But I got Ayuk to go for another 20+ point game.
Okay.
Maybe not because he had 30, maybe.
Touchdowns or something?
Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns.
And then, like,
Let's see.
a high
Ayuk.
40.
No one expected this guy to do
32,
this.
yeah,
8
32.
receptions, 8 targets, 129 yards, and 2 touchdowns for 32 points.
Ball.
I'm not gonna say he's gonna get 32 points, but he's gonna get 20 points. He's gonna get 20 plus. And I mean, it's pretty a hot take because considering where I
They have so many weapons, and where he was drafted, he's looking like being one of the steals. And like we said, this is what you needed from him. For your team to produce, you needed for the Ayuk and the Sanders, at least one of them.
He basically did what Cup, because I have Cup. He basically did what Cup would have done.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
He gave me those numbers.
Yeah. So it worked out for me. My digging for gyms at the late rounds. And I mean, me and him argue about Debo and Ayuk. I think Ayuk's a better wide receiver. I understand that Debo's a better, probably athlete, but
overall, I say he's the better overall football player.
Yeah.
You know, and Ayuk is the better route runner.
I do. What wide receivers do.
He can catch the ball at the high point better. You know, yeah exactly. What wide receivers do.
Yeah.
We agree there. What we like though, I like the Debo
I think
side.
Ivan's more.
He likes the Ayuk
more.
side of it. So.
And then Brock Purdy, I mean, he's better. He's good. He's good, bro.
Yeah.
He's good.
Oh yeah, Brock Purdy's the man, baby.
He's better. I honestly think he's better. I don't got him. I don't got him like with the top guys. You know what I mean?
Shout out to
He's a little bit above mid.
Shout out to David because we always be harassing him about Purdy. He's been on Purdy for like a year. Purdy this, Purdy that.
I mean, I won a championship with Purdy.
We always tell him, he's 16 points at most. He's 16 points at most. But I am starting to feel like he's guaranteed 16 points.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm not gonna say
I was like, dude, the floor is 15 and he gets 16.
I'm thinking he's 16. Like, there's no way he's getting less than that the rest of the year. You know, I've got my
He didn't make no mistakes. I don't think he might have fumbled. I think he fumbled.
He fumbled. And he looked good just coming back after being hurt. He looked like he's ready to play. The Niners have a shitload of weapons. Yeah, we looked good. So there you go. There are Bogart's hot takes for the week. You know, always hitting you with that fresh, that spicy shit, giving you something different.
Trying to give you something that
I'm gonna spark up this joint as we get into these knowledge picks of the week right here.
Better have me, dude.
Last segment right here. You want to make this list? I always tell you, if you don't make the list, hit the waiver wire better. Make some trades. Fill your spots out. Things are always shifting. Or prove me wrong, so you can get the shout out like Frankie. You know what I'm saying? Do your thing.
Frank won with no Jonathan Taylor. I won with no Cup.
So next, right here, the first pick of the week, we got Cal Al. You know what I'm saying? In his matchup, he's playing against B4 Zaya. It should be a good
that was
one.
me. That was me. I'm playing B4.
Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind. He's playing against
Fuego
Blunt.
Baby Blunt.
Baby Blunt. This was a close little matchup. I like the way it looked, but overall, I like Stevie's team, the way it looked. So I went with Mr.
So
Stevie's
gonna be Sarah Connor in T2.
Yeah,
Baby Blunt's gonna be Sarah Connor in T1.
Before she could do a chin up. You know what I mean? And then next we got Just Win Baby. You know, he got that 1 point loss last week. His team looks good. His team is another one though. He's playing against Gargi?
Gargi, yeah.
And Gargi's team was good too. This was another tough one. So this game could really go either way. It's our whole league right now is looking good, especially it's only been 1 week and things are up in the air. Yeah. So we had a lot of teams that even lost. Everyone put up decent numbers. And I feel like you guys are doing your jobs. You know, you're making the league better. It's pretty competitive. Just Win, baby. I got you getting your first win of the year, getting out stealing out the victory. Next, we got my co-host himself, the champ, Mr. God Stevenson. You know, in case you don't know, a little Nas reference for the Godson. And he's got himself matchup. He's playing against Jordan Love, which was a good pickup before Zaya. Yeah. And then just Ayuk, like he said, should have a good game this week. There's got good matchups. And I really feel like it's going to be a tough. The projections on Sleepers got them 106.5 to 106.32. They got Isaiah to win. So it's a very close game. Could go either way. There's just a couple matchups I like better for his team, so I went ahead with the God Stevensons. Next team shout out to I think is probably still the best team on paper after watching week 1. I liked it a lot. Este. He's got himself match up against Team Chimichancla, and for the most part, I see him just winning this game. Chimichancla has some players.
He's hurting.
But he's hurting right now. So and he's coming up going against the powerhouse on paper.
Yeah.
So on paper, Este looks hard to beat, especially if you go in there with a hurt team. It's gonna
he got the Ridley Lawrence stack. Who would
yeah.
have thought of that?
It's gonna get
you think people talk about stacking? They don't talk about Lawrence and the Ridley stack.
Man, that's the stack I wanted all year. I'm not gonna lie. I was on the front end. He was on the back end. That was good shit.
That's what David said.
And next we got the Butcher. You know, the Butcher's coming.
Oh,
you know, he's going to get himself another one. This is another team that I also like on paper. He's playing against the Tank. And again, Tank, on paper, I have him just, he pulled a win off last week, but on paper, his team just doesn't look as threatening to me as a team like Joe's. You know, Joe's got Chubb. You were just saying he could finish as the number one receiver. That's your goal.
Yeah.
So if that happens, he's got Lamar Jackson, Alexander Madison, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Courtland Sutton is their only target guy. He got 13 points last week. Hawkinson's on that high-powered offense. So the lines you were just talking about. You know, and so I like his team across the board. It's hard to pick against Este and Revo right now, unless injuries happen or something happens for me. I really like their teams on paper, you know, so it's hard for me to pick against them. Then next we got Nicky Moon. You know, got him going 2-0 right now, about to get himself his next victory against Chris Berman. That was a tough one. Jared Goff, I do have some faith in him, but it's just that Damian Pierce, Cam Akers duo that he has going on compared to the Tony Pollard and Aaron Jones. If Aaron Jones doesn't play, then I could smell an upset from Chris. You know what I'm saying? That's a big point of it. And we don't know yet if Aaron Jones is playing. I'm making these predictions while under the impression Aaron Jones will be in the lineup. So we'll go there. And next we got the last, and this is the game right here that is myself and Mr. David. You know, I love Drake in London versus Waddle to a win. And we have a name bet where we get to name each other's team if the other one loses. I obviously got myself winning, going 2-0. Changing David's name and getting him down to 0-2 is going to be a highlight of mine. I can't wait. It's going to be a tough matchup. There's a lot on the line. I hope your Gibbs situation's right. I actually have to go with the Kirk Cousins Addison stack that I'm not exactly like 100% thrilled about, but DJ Moore didn't do much for me last week, and I really have a hard time starting him right now until I see that offense kick the gears that I want to see. So
that was scary.
I don't like Addison. Only was on the field about 54% of the snaps, but hopefully it does go up this week. He still did have 6 targets last week. The Vikings throw a lot. They're going to play the Eagles, so they're going to have to play from behind. So we'll see how that stat goes against me. It's going to be a dangerous one in a game.
You're going to have a rough 2 days.
If you don't hit it. And then I'm playing with the name change. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it works out. But those are your picks of the week. You know, this has been another episode of the California Stoners League. Make sure you guys hit the waiver wires. Make sure you guys fucking do what you're supposed to be doing. Make sure you guys tune in next week if you want to hear all the fucking dope shit about your teams and how whack you are and how dope you are. You know what I'm saying? You do dope shit, you get praises. You sit here and say, hey, that was great GMing. You do bad shit, you're going to get... Nobody this week got any kind of GM, you know, did any kind of bonehead moves that lost in the game. But as soon as that happens, we will definitely be letting you guys know and making sure that we talk good shit.